Who let the dogs out? Who?
I'm not familiar precisely with exactly what I said, but I stand by what I said, whatever it was.
I'm not sure about these cookies. They don't look like you made them. Did you make those cookies? You didn't, did you? No. They came from the local bakery, 7-Eleven bakery or whatever.
So we went to the company and we said, look, you can't have any illegals working on our property. I'm running for office, for Pete's sake. I can't have illegals. Keep the burden down on middle-income taxpayers.
$100,000 middle income?
Well, no, middle income is $250,000 and less.
I'm not a person of core values. I don't have a core. I'm not a person of core values. I don't have a core.
And I have to take medication or I'll die. Right now I weigh less than 80 pounds. I have all my life. I have support of 5 of my doctors saying that I am living proof that medical marijuana works. I am completely against legalizing it for everyone, but there is medical purposes for it.
And you have synthetic marijuana that's available and other pain medications.
It makes me sick. I have tried it and it makes me throw up. I have tried all the medications there are and all the forms that come in, appetite stimulators or steroids. I have muscular dystrophy. That's completely against my DNA.
I'm sorry to hear that.
My question for you is, will you arrest me and my doctors if I get medical marijuana prescribed?
I'm not in favor of medical marijuana being
So
legal
will you
in the
have
country.
me arrested?
Hi. How are you?
Excuse me.
I'm sorry.
Will you please answer my question?
Well, you have. Wait, are you not going to answer his question, Governor?
I think I have. I'm not.
No, he asked you if you were going to arrest. He asked if you were going to arrest patients like him, Governor. You're going to just ignore a person in a wheelchair?
Oh, I spoke with him.
I know, but he didn't answer his question. All right. Well, this.
I want people to be able to own their own insurance if they wish to, and to buy it for themselves and perhaps keep it the rest of their life, and to choose among different policies offered from companies across the nation. I want individuals to have their own insurance. That means the insurance company will have an incentive to keep you healthy. It also means that if you don't like what they do, you can fire them. I like being able to fire people who provide services to me. If someone doesn't give me the good service I need, I want to say, that I'm going to go get somebody else to provide that service to me. It's like to worry whether you're going to get fired. There were a couple of times I wondered whether I was going to get a pink slip, and I care very deeply about the American people.
It's bull. Come on, man.
He wasn't trying, in my view. He was pulling in the wrong direction. He didn't know what it takes to actually make the economy work. Paul Ryan and I understand how the economy works. We understand how Washington works. We will reach across the aisle and find good people who, like us, want to make sure this company deals with its challenges. We'll get America on track again. He didn't know what it takes to actually make the economy work. Paul Ryan and I understand how the economy works. We understand how Washington works. We will reach across the aisle and find good people who, like us, want to make sure this company deals with its challenges. We'll get America on track. Corporations are people, my friend. We can raise taxes on, of course they are. Everything corporations earn ultimately goes to people. So, where do you think it goes? Whose pockets? Whose pockets? People's pockets. Okay, human beings, my friend. So number one.
America.
To get that kind of money, you've got to cozy up as an incumbent to all of the special interest groups who can go out and raise money for you from their members. That kind of relationship has an influence on the way you're going to vote.
Is there a concern that the pressure from Santorum and Gingrich might force the governor to tack so far to the right it would hurt him with moderate voters in the general election?
Well, I think you hit a reset button for the fall campaign.
And so he was asked the question, well, what's Governor Romney going to do? And the man said, well, this was his chief campaign advisor. He said, we'll have to hit the reset button after the primary.
Everything changes. It's almost like an Etch-a-Sketch. You can kind of shake it up and we start all over again.
He said it's like an Etch-a-Sketch. He said you just turn it over and shake it, and then you start all over. Imagine, had Mitt Romney been around at the time we were drafting our Constitution, he'd have just shaken it and just shook it up after it was approved to rewrite it.
How are we going to do it in 2 months before elections to convince everybody you got to take care of your son? There are 47% of the people who vote for the president on the phone. All right, there are 47% who are with him, who are dependent on government, who believe that they're victims, who believe the government has a responsibility to care for them, who believe that they're entitled to health care, to food, to housing, to you name it. But it's an entitlement, and the government should give it to them. And they will vote for this president no matter what. I mean, the president starts off with 48, 49, 40, 80. He starts off with a huge number. These are people who pay no income tax. 47% of Americans pay no income tax. So our message of low taxes doesn't connect. He'll get there talking about tax cuts for the rich. I mean, that's what they sell every 4 years. And so to worry about those people. I'll never convince them that they should take personal responsibility and care for their lives. What I have to do is convince the 5 to 10% in the Senate.
Extra point in there that I want to address, and that is with regards to my views with regards to protecting a woman's right to choose. And I've been very clear on that. I will preserve and protect a woman's right to choose, and am devoted and dedicated to honoring my word in that regard. I will not change any provisions of Massachusetts' pro-choice laws. And with regards to this issue of age of consent, it is currently 18 years old. If one wants to have an abortion younger than that, one must have the permission of one parent, and if a parent doesn't go along, one can go to a judge or justice to get that permission. And so far in Massachusetts history, when a young woman has gone to a judge, not one single time has there been a denial of that permission. And so I am in favor of retaining our current law, which is the age of consent remaining at 18. And I will preserve and protect a woman's right to choose. And I do take exception to Shannon characterizing my view as being any different than hers in this regard. The Boston Globe.
I think people recognize that I'm not a partisan Republican, that I'm someone who is moderate, and that my views are progressive.
But I was a severely conservative Republican governor.
I'm not familiar precisely with exactly what I said, but I stand by what I said, whatever it was.
Borrowing money from China to pay for it. And on that basis, of course, you get rid of Obamacare. That's the easy one. But there are others. Planned Parenthood, we're going to get rid of that. The subsidy for Amtrak, I would eliminate that.
So I looked into it. Turns out he thinks abortion should be an option in cases of rape, incest, or to save a mother's life.
I am pro-life.
I am firmly pro-life. I'm pro-life.
I was an avidly pro-life governor. I will be a pro-life president.
We should overturn Roe v. Wade.
Hopefully reverse Roe v. Wade.
Reverse Roe v. Wade.
This issue is important to me, but I'm more concerned about the debt our children will be left with.
I would welcome a circumstance where there was such a consensus in this country that we said we don't want to have abortion in this country at all, period. That'd be wonderful.
Would you have supported the constitutional amendment that would have established the definition of life at conception?
Absolutely. I'm Mitt Romney, and I approved this message.
The blind trust is an age-old ruse, if you will, which is to say you can always tell the blind trust what it can and cannot do. You give a blind trust rules. Any investments that I have are managed by a blind trust. I don't make investments in Bain or anywhere else. That's done by a trustee.
First of all, my investments are not made by me. My investments for the last 10 years have been in a blind trust.
My investments, of course, are managed not by me. For the last 10 years, they've been guided and managed by a trustee. They're in a blind trust.
I obviously pay all full taxes. I'm honest in my dealings with people. People understand that.
It's bull. Come on, man.
My taxes are carefully managed, and I pay a lot of taxes. I've been very successful, and when I have our taxes ready for this year, I'll release them.
When you release yours, will you follow your father's example?
Maybe. I don't know how many years I'll release. I'll take a look at what our documents are.
95% of life is set up for you if you're born in this country. And I remember going sorry just to bore you with stories, but when I was back in my private equity days, we went to China to buy a factory there. It employed about 20,000 people. And they were almost all young women between the ages of about 18 and 22 or 23. They were saving for potentially becoming married, and they worked in these huge factories. They made various small appliances. And as we were walking through this facility, seeing them work, the number of hours they worked per day, the pittance they earned, living in dormitories with little bathrooms at the end of maybe 10 rooms. In the rooms, they had 12 girls per room. 3 bunk beds on top of each other. I mean, you've seen it. And around this factory was a fence, a huge fence with barbed wire and guard towers. And we said, gosh, I can't believe that you keep these girls in. They said, no. This is to keep other people from coming in. Because people want so badly to come work in this factory that we have to keep them out, or they'll just come in here and start working and try and get compensated. So this is to keep people out. And they said, actually, at Chinese New Year, as the girls go home, sometimes they decide they've saved enough money and they don't come back to the factory. And he said, and so on the weekend after Chinese New Year, there'll be a line of people, hundreds long, outside the factory, hoping
that some girls haven't come back, and they can come to the factory. And so as we were experiencing this for the first time for me to see a factory like this in China some years ago, the main partner I was with turned to me and said, you know, 95% of life is settled if you're born in America. This is an amazing land. And what we have is unique, and fortunately it is so special, we're sharing it with the world. Yes, ma'am. Here's the microphone. Watch this.
So you're all for like yay freedom and all this stuff and yay like pursuit of happiness. You know what would make me happy? Free birth control.
You know, let me tell you. Let me tell you something. If you're looking for free stuff, you don't have to pay for, vote for the other guy. That's what he's all about, okay? That's not what I'm about.
Do you suggest that anyone who questions the policies and practices of Wall Street and financial institutions, anyone who has questions about the distribution of wealth and power in this country, is envious? Is it about jealousy, or is it about fairness?
I think it's about envy. I think it's about class warfare.
So you put him in force up there over everything, then what? What's going to happen then?
For some of the thousands of American workers he left in the dust, the nightmare never stopped.
It's been rough on a lot of people. A lot of lives were ruined. I don't want to ever go through it again.
Now Romney says he wants to bring what he learned on Wall Street to the White House. What would his cabinet look like? Who would he put in positions of power around him?
I spent my life in the real economy, and I mean by that I didn't just watch jobs get created and saved. I did that myself.
It happened so quickly. Going in, the factory's closed.
Everybody was fired.
Being in the private sector for 25 years, therefore knowing how the economy works, why jobs come, why they go.
And that hurt so bad to leave my home.
That was our way of life because I'd been there since I was 18 years old.
Not just watch jobs being created, but actually creating jobs.
He took away our livelihood. He took away our futures.
You know, maybe it's kind of like the old saying, the rich get richer and the poor get poorer.
It's not a very pretty picture, is it?
We don't have middle-class people no more. Rich and poor, that is it.
That company ended up closing 2 plants and laying off 385 workers. You didn't save those jobs, Governor.
No, there's no question.
What happened here? We used to have a large middle class. We don't have the type of jobs to keep that medium family going.
He destroyed a lot of people's lives out there.
Bain reaped millions from companies that sent jobs overseas, closed factories, or plunged into bankruptcy.
That's what they do. Is it right? No, but it's the way it's done.
There you go back to greed.
Mm-hmm. It all ends up back to greed.
There are a lot of reasons not to elect me.
No matter how much they already had, they just could never get enough money.
he's more apt to put them out of work than he is putting them back to work.
They just don't know how jobs are created in the private sector. That's where I spent my entire career.
His job in private business with Bain Capital is to go in and fire people.
Most people I know, we're just trying to get by.
He's not meaning one bit of what he's saying.
Hold on just a moment. Hold on just a moment. Hold on just a moment.
No, it's not. It's just politics.
If you don't like my answer, you can vote for someone else.
What do you get out of treating people like this?
He is there for the almighty dollar.
25 million people don't have jobs and can't find jobs. And
Wall Street free! Wall Street free! Wall Street free!
Okay, next question. We got another question?
What the president's campaign did was focus on certain members of his base coalition, give them extraordinary financial gifts from the government, and then work very aggressively to turn them out to vote, and that strategy worked. I mean, it's a proven political strategy, which is give a bunch of money from the government to a group, and guess what? They'll vote for you. Let me tell you what I would do if I were a Democrat running 4 years from now. I'd say, you know what? Dental care ought to be included in Obamacare. Immigration we can solve, but the giving away free stuff is a hard thing to compete with.
One year when you paid about a 13.9% tax rate. Can we clear this up by asking you a simple yes or no question? Was there ever any year when you paid lower than the 13.9%?
Well, I haven't calculated that. I'm happy to go back and look, but my view is I have paid all the taxes required by law. I don't pay more than are legally due. And frankly, if I had paid more than are legally due, I don't think I'd be qualified to become president. I think people would want me to follow the law and pay only what the tax code requires.